At 27, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't stuck because I was unlucky. I wasn't broke because the economy was bad. I was stuck because of a number I didn't even know existed. Here's what kept happening. I'd land a freelance project, good money, things would look up. I'd start planning. Maybe I'd finally save something. Maybe I'd finally get ahead. And then something would break. A client would disappear. I'd make a stupid purchase I didn't need. I'd turn down an opportunity because it didn't feel right. Within weeks, I was back to the same income level. Every single time. It wasn't coincidence. It was precision. Like my bank account had a maximum capacity and anything above it just leaked out. I'd push. I'd hustle. I'd almost break through. And then I'd sabotage myself back to familiar ground. It took me years to understand what was actually happening. My subconscious mind had already decided how much money I was allowed to make. And until I changed that internal number, nothing in my external world would change. If you've ever felt like you're running but not moving forward, this might be the most important thing you hear this year. Let me start with something uncomfortable. You don't actually control your decisions, not most of them anyway. Studies show that about 95% of your daily behavior runs on autopilot, subconscious patterns, programmed responses. You think you're consciously choosing your career moves, your financial decisions, your reactions to opportunities, but here's the truth. You're running software you didn't install. And most of it was downloaded before you turned 7 years old. Think about it like this. Your conscious mind is like someone sitting in a car, hands on the wheel, thinking they're driving. But the subconscious, that's the actual engine, the GPS. The entire operating system. You're not driving, you're just holding a decorative wheel. Now here's where it gets specific to money. Your subconscious has a financial thermostat, a set point, a number that feels normal to you. Let's say that number is $3,000 a month. Maybe you've been earning around that for years. Some months it's $2,500, some months $3,500, but it averages out to $3,000. That number isn't random. It feels safe, familiar, right. Now imagine you get an opportunity to make $10,000 in a month. Consciously, you want it, you'd love it, you're excited. But subconsciously, alarm bells. $10,000 doesn't match your internal setting. It creates tension, anxiety, a feeling that something's off. And your subconscious has one job, keep you safe. Not successful, not rich, safe. So it does what it's designed to do. It sabotages you back to familiar territory. You procrastinate on the proposal. You underprice yourself. You get nervous and fumble the pitch. You pick a fight with the client over something small. Whatever it takes to get you back to 3,000, back to normal, back to safe. This isn't a theory. This is a documented psychological phenomenon. You have an invisible ceiling, and you're the one holding it in place. Now let me introduce you to the saboteur. It's not evil. It's not trying to ruin your life. It's actually trying to protect you. But it's working with outdated information. It whispers things like, money changes people, and not in a good way. Rich people are selfish. Do you want to become like them? What if you succeed and then fail publicly? Everyone will see. You're not the kind of person who makes that much. Stay in your lane. These aren't conscious thoughts. They're deeper, quieter, automatic, and they run your financial decisions from the background. The saboteur doesn't show up as a villain. It shows up as reasonable doubt, as being realistic, as sudden discomfort right when things are about to change. It's the voice that says, don't get your hopes up. And you listen because it sounds like wisdom. So where does this program come from? Childhood. Almost always childhood. Your subconscious is like a recorder that's always on, especially between ages 0 and 7. During that time, you're absorbing everything, not analyzing, not questioning, just recording. And a lot of what you recorded was about money. Maybe you heard, we can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. Be realistic. Don't dream too big. Rich people are greedy. Maybe you watched your parents stress about bills, argue about expenses, work jobs they hated just to get by. The entire emotional atmosphere in the house shifted. Fear, tension, silence. Your young brain didn't have context, it just absorbed the equation. Money equals stress. Money equals conflict. Money equals danger. And that association got stored, deep. Here's the key. Your subconscious doesn't store logic, it stores emotion. It doesn't matter if what you learned was accurate, it matters how it felt. So if money felt scary when you were 6, it's going to feel scary when you're 30. Even if your life circumstances are completely different now, even if you're capable, educated, hardworking, the emotional program is still running. Let me give you a specific example. Let's say when you were 8, your dad got a promotion. More money. He was excited. But then he started working late, missing dinner, stressed, distant. Your child brain formed a conclusion. More money means less love, less presence, less safety. That's not a conscious belief. You'd never say that out loud, but it's encoded. And now, 20 years later, every time you get close to a higher income level, you feel uneasy, like something's wrong, like you're losing something. So you pull back. Not because you don't want success, but because your subconscious is trying to protect you from what it learned success costs. Your subconscious doesn't care what's true. It cares what feels safe. And safety is defined by the past. I'll tell you exactly when I figured this out. I was 28, working as a freelance writer, doing okay. Not great, but okay. A company reached out, big project, potential long-term contract, the kind of opportunity that could change everything. I was excited for about 12 hours. Then the doubts started creeping in. They're probably talking to other people. I don't have enough experience for this. What if I mess it up and ruin my reputation? I delayed sending the proposal, then I sent a version that was rushed and underpriced. They went with someone else, and I felt relieved. That's when it hit me. I wasn't unlucky. I wasn't overlooked. I sabotaged myself because some part of me didn't believe I belonged at that level. I started paying attention, writing things down. I noticed patterns. Every time I got close to earning more than usual, I'd do something to reset. Buy something expensive I didn't need, turn down a project because I didn't have time, get sick right before a big deadline. It wasn't random, it was systematic. I pulled out a notebook and wrote down every belief I had about money. I'm bad with money. I always mess up opportunities. People like me don't make 6 figures. If I get successful, I'll lose touch with my friends. Most of these beliefs I didn't even know I had. They were just background noise. But when I saw them on paper, I realized something. These weren't facts, they were programs. And programs can be rewritten. So, how do you actually change this? Here's the process. 4 steps. Step 1. Identify your ceiling. Look at your income over the last 3 years. What's the average? Now ask yourself, what number feels too big? Not impossible, not unrealistic, just uncomfortable. That discomfort is the edge of your current program. Write that number down. Step 2. Find the emotional root. Ask yourself, what did I hear about money growing up? What scares me about earning more? What would I have to give up or risk if I made significantly more money? This isn't a surface exercise. Sit with it. You might get answers like, I'd have to work all the time. People would expect too much from me. I'd become someone I don't recognize. These are the real barriers, not your skills, not the market. This. Step 3. Replace the script. You're not going to fix this with affirmations. Saying, I am a millionaire in the mirror when you don't believe it does nothing. What works is gradual identity shift. Start with statements that feel true but slightly expansive. Instead of, I'm bad with money, try, I'm learning to manage money better. Instead of, I'll never make 6 figures, try, I'm capable of earning more than I currently do. These aren't lies, they're bridges. Your subconscious will accept them because they don't trigger alarm bells. And over time, you stretch the bridge further. But here's the real shift: evidence. Your subconscious updates based on proof, not words, proof. So you need to give it evidence that higher income is safe. How? Small actions that contradict the old program. Raise your rates by 10%. See what happens. Nothing bad? Your subconscious takes note. Apply for a position slightly above your current level. Invest in a course or tool that someone at the next level would use. Each small action sends a message. We're safe here. We can handle this. Step 4. Act against the fear. This is the hardest part, because right when you're about to break through, the saboteur will show up. You'll feel anxiety, doubt, a sudden urge to quit or distract yourself. That's the program trying to pull you back. Here's what you do. Act anyway. Not because you feel confident, but because action creates confidence. You don't wait to feel ready. You act, and then you feel ready. Send the proposal even though you're nervous. Publish the work even though it's not perfect. Have the conversation even though you're scared. Each time you do this, you prove to your subconscious that the fear was wrong, and the program starts to update. It's not instant, it's repetition. But it works. Here's what happened for me. I started small, raised my rates by 15%, lost a couple of cheap clients, gained one better one. Net result? Same income, but less work. My subconscious didn't panic because the number didn't jump dramatically. Then I applied for a project I thought was out of my league, got it, made more in 1 month than I'd made in 3 before. And I waited for the sabotage, the anxiety, the collapse. It didn't come because I'd been conditioning myself, small wins, evidence, repetition. My internal thermostat had shifted. $3,000 a month started to feel low, restrictive. $5,000 became normal, then $8,000. Not because I worked harder, because I believed differently, and belief drives behavior. Within a year, I was consistently earning more than I ever had, and it felt normal. That's the shift. Not just making more money, but feeling like you belong at that level, because your subconscious updates through evidence. Every time you succeed and nothing bad happens, the ceiling moves higher. Every time you earn more and stay yourself, the fear loses power. You're not fighting your subconscious, you're retraining it, and that changes everything. Here's the scariest part. You could spend the next 10 years working harder, learning more skills, chasing opportunities, and still end up at the same income level. Not because you're not capable, but because you never changed the number inside your head. The market doesn't set your ceiling, your subconscious does. And the moment you realize that, everything shifts. Because if you built the ceiling, you can move it. It's not about motivation, it's not about hustle, it's about reprogramming. And that starts today, not with a big leap, with awareness, with one small action that contradicts the old story. Your financial reality isn't fixed, it's just familiar. And familiar can change.